let's go further into critical part of resume writing. You may think it's the content and your CGPA and all which is important. No, it's not that. It's how you present your content is more important. A proper design and formatting of your resume is as important as your academic and professional background. Let's say a proper format is as important as your CGPA or percentage itself. Why so? Let's understand it from the perspective or viewpoint of admission committee. The admission committee in the program you are applying would be at least receiving some 300 applications, if not more. And now the think that each applicant will upload a resume, SOP, LOR, transcription, etc. And a professor would have limited time to go through these documents. Now let's continue with the design part, and the later part of this video I'll explain you in more detail on how to compel the professor to carefully look and consider your application. So let's look at the professional design. Now let me give you a brief idea about the designing of your resume. First, the font type. You should never use any fancy font anywhere in the resume. Use Arial or Times New Roman. There is a special advantage of using Times New Roman apart from it looking very clear. The advantage is it takes lesser space to write the same sentence than other, let's say any font, Arial. Let me give you an example. So I can hope you can notice the difference in the length due to the change in font type. I guarantee you that the both font size are the same. And I have written the same sentence on the top with an Arial font, at the bottom with the Times New Roman font, and I hope you can realize the difference. Next is to marginally keep your font size of headings larger. Usually font size of general text in your resume should be 11. So for heading it could be 12, and for smaller heading it could be 11.5. Then next is to use professional colors like black, dark gray and dark blue. Sometimes you may use red to create contrast, but I'll not advise you to do such. Next is to use capital letters in heading to differentiate them from other text. Also, you can bold the headings and technical words, so it can attract the eye of the observer. And any link can also be italicized and underlined. Also, while mentioning your experiences, you can mention your guide, company name, location, and duration, which you are going to mention. And since these are small text, it would have a couple of words only to mention your guide name or company name. And otherwise, it can take up an extra line if you enter each of this information in a new line. So for this, you can decide to put half of them on the left aligned and other half on the right alignment. So usually I have seen duration is usually right aligned. Next is to use bullet points while you describe your experience or projects in brief detail. If you have proof of certification, if you have any proof of certification, rank certificate, publication links, or approval of publication, personal web page, LinkedIn profile, company website, etc., you might want to create a hyperlink to access it. For documents you have locally, like some certificates, you might want to make a common folder in Google Drive and use the link to share that Google Drive file using a hyperlink in your resume. The standard margins may also be disrespected right now slightly, and a reduced margin on each side can be used. At the least, use half to quarter inch of a margin. You can also consider reducing line spacing if readability is not hindered. One nice thing I followed was reducing font size of empty lines. So if you are going to start a new heading or subheading from new lines, there are some extra lines in between. Then you can reduce the font size drastically. Let's say from 11 to 5 or 6. This way you can get a couple of extra lines in the same page. Now, this is of the most important part of your resume, formatting. You should have seen a standard resume format followed by almost all people, which usually looks like starting with name, contact information, then educational background, then courses, then projects experience, and then skills at the last. But here is the catch. There's no such rule of what should come first and what should come last. It is completely up to you. You have all the rights to decide what you want to put first, what next, and then what later. So now here is how to decide what should be first. Definitely, you should keep your name as header for each pages and then contact information. It should not come in the header. Your name should come in the header. No, contact information should only be mentioned once. But what next? So here comes the rule of first impression is the last impression. If your first half of the page of resume catches the eye of the professor, then only he or she will continue reading it forward. Otherwise, they'll usually skip it because they have a lot of uh, documents to check. So it is our responsibility, and in our favor to format the resume such that it catches the eye of the committee member who is going to check the documents. So if you have an extraordinary CGPA or a rank holder, then you want to keep your education at the top. If you have got good research experience, then you should keep it above. If you have better skills than any ordinary applicant, then keep skills earlier. If not, keep them later. So the rule is, think how much value a given information, education, experience, skills, etc., how much a given information adds value compared to any other information you are going to put in your resume. Whichever makes your application more stronger, whichever information makes your application more stronger, keep that information earlier and other information later. So here we come to the end of this video. I'm sure you would have known about these small things earlier also, but you have never applied it in your resume making. So I hope you realize the importance of these things and apply it for your benefit. Okay, thank you.